Okay, so um, I say a lot, and I apologize because that is so fucking annoying. The Cobb County house. I'm gonna talk about everything that happened in that house. We talked about the guy at Chick-fil-A. We talked about me getting caught. We talked about him blowing up about that. I touched a little bit about the thoughts of suicide and my note that I wrote to my son. So, in this house, I'm just gonna like talk about everything that I can remember that happened while we lived in this house. And it was rough. I actually drove past the house a year or so ago when I went to go visit one of my friends that lived in the same city. I drove by the house and my heart felt so weird. Like, I felt so freaking weird when I drove past the house. Anyway, only got 10 minutes. In this house is where my son spent about a year and a half, 2 years of his life. And he was around the age of 1. Yeah, because we had his first birthday in that house. So he had turned 1 in that house, and we moved out when he was going to turn 3 that year. So 2011 to 2013. And I always, like, when things happen in that house, I never can remember where my son was. Like, he was obviously there, but I don't remember, like, where he was. Because for me, it felt like an eternity when things would happen, like when my ex would blow up. And so, like, I always think about, like, what was my son doing, and, like, what was he hearing, and how did he feel? The majority of the time, he was in his room, in his crib, or he was, like, watching TV in the living room. And we were in our bedroom with the door closed. So at this house, I remember a time where I told you, like, it was to a point where I wanted to jump off the balcony. Like, I just kept having thoughts of climbing up and then just jumping off because I just couldn't. And I remember a time where I sat down. It was after another blow up that he had, where I was abused, and then he left and he wasn't there. And I remember, like, sitting down and literally writing in my journal a letter to my son, apologizing to him, saying that I wish I was stronger for you. I wish, I could have survived this pain. Like, literally just laying it all out to him, and then also, like, telling him, like, I want you to become, a great man, X, Y, and Z, all the things, and kind of giving him directions on how to do so. And then I closed it in my journal. So those thoughts went on. That is the beginning of my thoughts, and to be honest, it hasn't gone away completely, but it has gone away a lot, thanks to therapy. I remember a time when he got upset and he literally took ceramic plates and just crashed them on the ground because he was angry. I remember a time where I'm trying to, like, list them in, like, the severity, but I really can't. I remember a time where we got into it, and another situation, and now he has all the fuel to call me a hoe slut, right? Because I've been flirting with this guy at work. So now I've confirmed his thoughts about me being a hoe and a slut. I've confirmed it for him. So now 100%, I'm a hoe, I'm a slut, I'm nasty, this and that. So I remember he brought that up again, and he was so angry. He was throwing me around the room, calling me names, wouldn't stop, wouldn't let it go. Tried to call the police, took my phone away. It was a whole thing. I then tried to leave the house to get away. So, mind you, there were neighbors next to us. It was an older couple. I'll never forget them. God bless you guys. It was an older couple that lived directly next door, and they can hear everything. And there were maybe 2 or 3 times that I went to their house for safety and to use their phone to call the police. Okay, so at this point, I've already been made aware that I can go to their house for help. So that was my plan. Since he took my phone, I was like, all right, let me just try to leave. As I'm going to the door to try to leave, he grabs me and rips off all of my clothes. He rips my shirt off. He rips, like literally ripped, like the shirt is completely ripped. He rips my shirt off. I didn't have a bra on at the time. He rips my shirt off, takes my pants off, and literally rips, didn't take the underwear off of my legs. He ripped them off, like completely off. He opened the door and threw me outside. He's want to leave, cool. He opened the door, threw me outside. I was on my front porch, butt naked. I laid there, crunched up, and which it felt like forever, because I don't know if anybody knows what it feels like to be butt naked outside, exposed to the elements. But it can feel like an eternity. And so I, went like this. I was laying down on the ground, crying. And it was probably maybe a minute or so, and he opened the door and let me back in. Another time, where because the problem is I'm at 7-minute mark right now, and my head is all over the place. Because I know, excuse me, that's nasty. I know what I want to say. It's going to take more than 3 minutes. So I'm going to talk about the time that his brother was over at the house with his girlfriend. His brother needed a place to stay with his pregnant girlfriend. And they stayed in my son's room. We moved all the stuff out and put the crib in our bedroom. They stayed in there. We're like, y'all can stay with us for a little while until y'all, whatever, get back on your feet or find somewhere to go. She was pregnant. She was visibly pregnant. And they got into an argument. I can hear him screaming. I can hear him throwing things. And they're like, literally, you can hear a fight going on. I was terrified. One, because I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this runs in the fucking family. Number two, do I call the police and then he figures out I call the police and he comes after me? His brother didn't know like what to do either. So we were sitting there and like listening to all of that, terrified. And then we get a knock at the door. It's the police. Shit. Okay. He's going to think we call the police and he's going to retaliate against us. Now, this guy has been in jail. This guy, like, he's like really, really scary. And so the police come, we walk out the house because the police asked us to come out. They ask us where he is. We tell him he's in the room or whatever. We walk out, we go across the street. The police try to call him out. He slams the door and locks it. And so now, okay, you have a guy that's physically abusing a woman and has, locked themselves inside the house. So now we have cops surrounding our home, trying to get him out. He ends up, which is really weird because I feel like he jumped off the balcony. And now that I think about it, if he had jumped off the balcony and survived, that was not a good plan for me to kill myself. Clearly. I just thought about that. Yeah, so anyways, I guess he came off the balcony and slid down. I don't know. I'm gonna say he slid down like a ninja because that balcony was high. I'm gonna just say he slid down. And whatever, they ran after him. Anywho, we get back into the house. I go into my son's bedroom and there's blood everywhere all over the floor. And that's when I'm like, okay. Something's gotta fucking give. Something's gotta give.